Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia, home to one of the world's most iconic brands, Coca-Cola. Today, I'll be crossing off a long-time bucket list item visiting the World of Coca-Cola, a unique interactive museum that showcases the brand's storied 135-year history through a variety of fun multimedia exhibits and experiences. Visitors also get a chance to meet a very famous polar bear, get up close to the vault holding the company's most guarded secret, and to sample unique Coca-Cola products from around the world. This isn't your average old-fashioned museum. Ready? Let's get started. The World of Coca-Cola is located in the heart of downtown Atlanta in the Attraction District, a lovely park-like plaza that is also home to the famous Georgia Aquarium, which we'll visit in a future video. The museum opens at 10 a.m. daily, with closing times varying by day, so do check ahead online. Your ticket comes with a timed entry, and quantities are limited, so it's best to buy ahead to get your preferred date and time, and you can expect a typical visit to take about 2 hours. You can choose between general admission and guided tour tickets. Since I've been waiting to come here for years, I decided to splurge on the guided tour option, which came with a few fun extra perks and some line skipping. Once your ticket entry time arrives, it's time to head on in. There's an optional photo stop as you make your way through the queue. I decided to skip it. And then you'll enter the reception lobby, where you'll either meet your tour guide or else you'll wait for the main doors to open to let you into the experience. The exhibit does start here, though, with the waiting area featuring 4 large-scale artistic soda bottles from around the world. The first stop on my guided tour was actually into a side hallway where we got to choose a complimentary Coca-Cola product from the fridge, before we were escorted through some other side passages into the main theater for the welcome video, which was about 7 or 8 minutes long. I wasn't allowed to film the video, but I will say that it was surprisingly emotional. I definitely teared up a bit, which was not on my bingo card for spending a day at a soda museum. After the film is finished playing, the theater opens up into the main atrium, a 2-story lobby that leads to all the different exhibit areas. Our tour guide led us first into Milestones of Refreshment, which is the exhibit that's most similar to what you'd expect of a typical museum. Milestones of Refreshment is a series of 10 galleries that takes you on a journey from Coca-Cola's invention by pharmacist John Pemberton in the late 19th century, all the way through today, where it's one of the world's most iconic and most valuable brands. There are well over 1,000 items on display here from all over the world. As I said earlier, an average visit takes a couple of hours, but if you're really a history buff, then you can easily spend half of that time just in the Milestones exhibit. I'm a big fan of the Olympics, which Coca-Cola is a big sponsor of, so my favorite part of this exhibit was the gallery featuring the Olympic torches. As part of the guided tour, we actually got to spend some time in a side room off the exhibit area and hold a real torch from the 1996 Summer Games held in Atlanta. I was not expecting that, and honestly, to me, that experience alone was worth the whole price of admission. Next, we headed to the vault, which is where the original written recipe and top secret formula for Coca-Cola is kept safe and secured. The guided tour allows you to pass the queue to enter, and our guide led us through the first part of the exhibit, which is a series of fun interactive displays that highlight the plight of the formula over the years and the efforts to keep it out of competitors' hands. The highlight of this area is, of course, the vault itself, located in the chamber of the secret formula. Yes, it is a real vault. The real original handwritten paper from the 1800s is in there, and yes, the vault will issue a loud warning if you get too close, which I accidentally did when I touched the railing while posing for a photo. Whoops! Next up was the Beverage Lab, where you get to explore the science behind the drinks. Here we got to try an infamous blast from the past, released from the Coca-Cola vault for this exhibit. One of the biggest product failures of the 20th century, April 1985's New Coke. It lasted a whole 79 days before the original recipe was resuscitated, rebranding itself as Coca-Cola Classic. New Coke did stick around as well for a while, but it was eventually discontinued. I'm not sure if I ever had New Coke as a kid, but this was definitely my first time trying it as an adult, and yeah, it was pretty terrible. After washing that taste out of my mouth with a better tasting mystery drink from the Beverage Lab, we headed to Scent Discovery. As the name implies, this exhibit is all about using your nose while journeying through flavor. We first played a game where we worked on identifying smells by watching the screen and pressing the buttons at our stations. The second part of this exhibit is the scent library, where you learn about 5 scent categories: fruity, floral, citrus, woody, and spicy. Then by rotating the display, you learn about Coca-Cola beverages from around the world that incorporate the corresponding scent profile. Kinda neat. After tiring our noses, we headed to the icons exhibit. This section is all about the things that make Coca-Cola, well, iconic. There are displays on the famous font script, on how Santa Claus became associated with the brand, on the development of the famous contour bottle, but the highlight has to be the icon you get to meet while you're at this exhibit. One of the top icons of Coca-Cola, the famous polar bear. Not gonna lie, I was really jazzed for this photo, and the polar bear was very excited that I was wearing my Coca-Cola polar bear t-shirt. And as an FYI, with the guided tour, you get to skip the photo line, which can get quite long. You can snap photos of yourself with the bear with your smartphone, but you can also get the professional shots, which come with a variety of iconic background choices. I had to get these, I loved them all. The tour finishes in what for many is the highlight of the museum, the Coca-Cola beverage tasting experience, the Taste It exhibit. Now, if you're an American like me, then these are the Coca-Cola fountain products that you know and have grown up with. But the fountain beverages here feature products from all over the world, some of which are only sold in those specific countries. You can spend as much time here as you like and drink as much as you want. Just grab a cup and get to it. There are QR codes posted you can scan to learn more about some of the featured options. I think my favorite was Romania's Sprite Cucumber. But they were all good. I don't think there were any that I actually disliked. When you're done tasting, there are some Coca-Cola freestyle machines if somehow you are still thirsty after all that beverage sampling. As any museum does, the World of Coca-Cola ends with a giant gift shop. This one was smaller than the Coca-Cola stores I visited in the past in Las Vegas and Orlando, but it's still pretty big and filled with Coca-Cola kitsch of every possible genre. If you love Coca-Cola, the gift shop really is pretty fun and exciting, making a great finale to the overall experience. You can decorate your whole house and build a whole new wardrobe with all the Coca-Cola themed merch here. Somehow, I managed to walk out of the shop with just a couple of items, and I was pretty proud of my own restraint. So there you have it, the world of Coca-Cola. The one thing I'll note here as we wrap up is that there typically is a 3D experience as well, but that was being refurbished during my visit in July of 2024, so I didn't get to check that out. That was the only downer though. Everything else was so much fun. I've always been such a Coca-Cola fan, and as I said at the start, visiting the world of Coca-Cola has been on my bucket list since I was a kid. The guided tour provided some nice perks, and since time was a factor for me on the day of my visit, being able to skip the lines, plus getting to hold the Olympic torch, made the additional cost well worth it for me. Thanks so much for watching, and if you've got an upcoming visit to the world of Coca-Cola, I hope this video got you excited for what's to come. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, as it really helps, and don't forget to subscribe for all my future adventures. I'll see you next time!